All right, so Djokovic, the king, is back in action this week, heading into Dubai with a record 378th week at number one, record for men's or women's. He's on top. So he's back in action with that new record. We're going to see how he plays with that. And Carlos Alcaraz is going to be playing allegedly in Acapulco, although he said that he, after the final in Rio, which he lost to Norrie, he re-injured the same injury that kept him out of the Australian Open. So we're going to see, is he actually going to play? Is this cause for concern long-term for his injuries? Is he going to be an injury-prone player? Hopefully not. Anyways, that's the big two stories for next week here on The Slice, but we're also going to look back at the winners from last week. We had some pretty crazy turnarounds and results. So let's get into it here on The Slice. Thanks for being here. All right, welcome back to the Slice Worldwide Studios. Thanks for being here, tennis fans. You guys are the best, and you're the best for upholding the gentleman's agreement, which, if you didn't hear about last time, is the unwritten rule that if you're going to watch our show on YouTube for free, you got to subscribe. And we all do it, and we all know that you do it. We don't check on you, but it's just a common understanding. So we appreciate you for respecting the gentleman's rule, the gentle ladies, the gentle ladies rule, and subscribing down below. Appreciate your support for the show. So before we get into next week, which is Djokovic returning, or this week really, which is Djokovic returning in Dubai, great field there. Casper Ruud, Carlos Alcaraz, Holger Rune, Taylor Fritz, all in Acapulco. Great field there as well. 2 ATP 500s. We're going to look back at last week and see what happened with the results and give me my little take on them. The Iga Bakery was officially closed down by Barbora Krejcikova. Let's start there, obviously. Huge win for Barbora over Iga Swiatek for the second time in a row and the second final in a row. She beat her in Ostrava in the fall of last year in the final there. And then she just beat her again here in Dubai. And now, obviously, the big news is that was crazy. We saw Brendan on North of the Net freaking out, showing how in 10 sets, for a 10-set streak there, Iga had lost less than one, she had lost less than one game per set on average. It was just crazy. It was breadsticks and bagels almost every single set. So she was just on an absolute heater there, but then slowed down a little bit versus Goff in the semifinals, and then Krejcikova was able to best her, as she's done before, again in the final. So huge win for Barbara. WTA 1000, first one of her career, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, Iga is beatable. And Krejcikova, longer, easier power. She's one of those players who I think, you got to be able to hit as big or bigger than Iga Swiatek to beat her. That's just like, it has to happen. You can't, I don't think anyone could if you let Iga take it to you, she can really take it to you. But if you can hit through her, you got a chance. It's almost like the Rafa Nadal effect, in my opinion, when I see players that beat him. If you can take him off the offensive, you got a better chance. So yeah, big win for Barbara in Dubai. That was a great tournament. Cam Norrie wins in Rio. Big time. So we're going to watch a video here of this crazy video or a shot from Carlos Alcaraz that we all saw. And I'm going to let you guys think what you saw with, this is what happens. Anyways, Carlos hits a crazy forehand running passing shot or winner up the line, and Cam sees it out, but I think he didn't really actually see it. He just saw a mark and he's like, that's the mark, hoping that it was the mark, and it was out. But then you see but then the umpire and the lines person said, no, that's not the mark. The mark is actually on the line. And from the replay, you can clearly see that it was in. So it's a bad look for Cam Norrie, but I don't think that he meant anything by it. But let's watch the video here, pulling up the stream or the video. Hopefully we don't get copyrighted. Tennis TV, we're not using your content. Anyways, there's the shot. Crazy shot. Let's see it again. Serve. Good return from Norrie. And then he goes cross court. And Alcaraz paints the line. Absolutely crazy. Cam goes, no, absolutely nice. This is out by an inch. And they come over. And you can clearly see that it's in. So
yeah, it's maybe a different mark.
Yeah, not a good look for Cam because he's like so confident that it's out. But it wasn't out. But in my opinion, these are how these things go. First time you see that, he's like, you have to just give him an excuse, give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a good guy, technically a friend of the show, and say he didn't see the right mark, just saw it wrong. If it happens again, you got to go eyebrow raised. What's going on here? Is this guy getting a little suspect? You see that type of thing a third time, then I think you could call him a cheater. But people are freaking out saying he's a cheater in the comments. Don't think he's a cheater. He won fair and square. Alcaraz, though, was injured. So he was pretty clearly injured. I was actually only able to tune in for like the last half of that set. And I was like, what's going on here? So turns out that Alcaraz has admitted that it's the pain is coming from the same muscle that he had that kept him out of the Australian Open in his right knee, if I'm not mistaken. So that's not good. So we'll talk about that more going into Acapulco, where he is still scheduled to play. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out here in the next couple of days. But big win for Cam Norrie, taking out Carlos Alcaraz technically in Rio in the final, in a wild final down there. Then we got Daniil Medvedev winning in Doha, second title in a row on hard court, beat Andy Murray in the final. It was a great final. Funny words exchange afterwards, where Daniil's like, Andy Murray had this crazy week coming from behind, saving match points, doing just the kind of the vintage now 2023 Andy Murray that we've seen ever since the Australian Open. And Daniil's like, I was up or at a match point against you, so I was worried. I was like, oh, I got a match point against Andy Murray. That's not a good thing, but I got to have a match point to win. Just a funny moment there in the post-match trophy ceremony. But yeah, Daniil Medvedev is looking very good. And as we'll get into it in Dubai, why don't we just do that right now? We will see that Medvedev and Djokovic are on the same half of the draw. Wouldn't you look at that? So yeah, here we're going to look at the Dubai duty-free championships draw. We got Novak Djokovic on the top. Like I said, back in action, 378th week at world number one. Just absolutely crazy. That is a record I never thought Federer would lose. As we've mentioned before, it's not actually Federer's craziest record, or wasn't Federer's craziest record in the rankings. His consecutive weeks at number one still stands, and that's the craziest record for him. But Djokovic has become the all-time leader in weeks at number one, which is amazing. He's got Thomas Macek. I don't know too much about his game in the first round. Shouldn't be an issue for Djokovic, obviously. Greek Sport has been playing good, so that could be a tough second round for him. And then in the quarterfinals, he could play Hubie Hurkacz. Hubie Hurkacz can always be dangerous. We know that. And then in the semifinals, like I said, Daniil Medvedev is on the same side as Novak Djokovic there. I'm looking at Daniil Medvedev's route. Arnaldi in the first round, Bublik or Lazarov. Then like Kokkinakis, who took out Halys. That's a good win actually for Kokkinakis, or Koric or Evans. So Daniil Medvedev and Djokovic, I would say, are on a crash course for a match in the semifinals at Dubai, which would be super mouthwatering. Clearly, to see just a good level setter for them. They haven't played this year, I don't think. Maybe they played in the ATP Cup. I don't think they did. No, actually, they definitely wouldn't have, because Djokovic or Medvedev, they weren't in the ATP Cup. Zverev beats Yuri Lehechka. That is a big win for Zverev in his comeback. As we know, Yuri Lehechka has been playing amazing, played great. He's hitting the ball huge, and Zverev has not looked like himself, but gets the win. Didn't see any of the match, but that's a big win for Zverev. We've got Felix Auger-Aliassime, the number 4 seed, friend of the show, and Canadian stud, playing in it with a nightmare draw, Maxime Cressy, who took him out at Wimbledon in the first round. Big serving Maxime. Don't want to play this guy on a fast court, and Dubai is a quick court typically. So that's a tough one for Felix, who, if he gets through that, will get Sonego, who he beat in the last tournament. And then he'll play either Zverev or, O'Connell or Ruusuvuori, and then it could be Rublev. So actually, I would say Felix is definitely on the better half of the draw, not having to face Medvedev or Djokovic, but his big test to get to the final will be Rublev or Khachanov, I think, for sure. So nice draw here in Dubai. Kind of, I would say, standard for the ATP 500, with the big match I'm looking forward to, hopefully, in the semifinal of Djokovic and Medvedev. Now let's go over to Acapulco, which is in a cool setting. I would love to get down to Acapulco at some point. Wasn't in the cards this year. We got Carlos Alcaraz the number 1 seed, who is still registered, as I've seen, to play the tournament. And then I'll just let you in on a little secret here, a little industry secret. These players, especially at Dubai and Acapulco, especially with Acapulco, get huge appearance fees to play. And I learned from an ATP employee that the ATP pays these guys an appearance fee to make an appearance at the tournament, regardless if they even play the first round or not. Like, there's no stipulation in the contract there that you have to play a match. So Carlos he's probably making between $500,000 and $1 million, $500,000 and $1 million just to show up at the tournament. So he's going to show up, and then I would assume pull out before his first match to protect that injury. How could you want to aggravate that injury more going forward if you got Indian Wells and Miami right up there, the title defense in Miami? So to me, it seems like the smart thing to take Acapulco off. I don't really think he hasn't even any points to defend here. And yeah, you got to be healthy. So I would assume that he's going to pull out, but he's going to collect that check, secure the bag before he does that. And that's just how the business of tennis works, people. He's still going to sell tickets. You know that with the Spanish flavor down in Mexico, he's going to sell tickets, and he'll probably come around, see fans, and do some stuff like that because he's an all-around good guy. You know he will. Anyways, back to the draw. We're not doing that. We're doing that. Back to the draw. Alcaraz on the top could play McDonald in the first round. Like I said, I don't think he will. Tommy Paul, 7th seed in that quarter. So if Djokovic drops out, there's a ton of Americans, as you can see, cheapers. It's like the gringo takeover. Mackenzie McDonald, Nakashima, Giron, Mo, Paul, Fritz, Isner, Eubanks, TFO, Nick Chappelle, Ben Shelton, JJ Wolf, all the Americans. Almost half the draw is American. That's crazy. Taylor Fritz, number 3 seed on the top half as well as Francis Tiafoe, the 6th seed. They could meet in the quarterfinals. Denis Shapovalov to play Miomir Kecmanovic, who's been really all over the place with form, played terribly at a lot of parts of last year, but can play well. So technically a tough first round for Shapovalov there. And then we got Cam Norrie, recent champion, to play Manarino, or now Matteo Berrettini, who's no longer a seeded player. He's going to be on the comeback. Actually, Shapovalov and Kecmanovic are playing right now. Shapovalov gave a bagel there on the second set. Wow, that's good. And then crazy, definitely match of the first round is Holger Rune versus Ben Shelton. So that's a crazy first round match. Holger Rune, the 4th seed, pretty awesome to see again. Last year he was just inside the top 100 at this point. Now he's the 4th seed, top 10, 11, 12 guy. Let's just take a quick look at the rankings. He is, still number 10. To play Ben Shelton, who's like the more recent breakout stud, but who's technically older than Holger Rune. But yeah, just an amazing first round match. So that would be awesome to see. I don't know when they play. Demon Hour, 8th seed on the bottom corner in the Casper Ruud quarter. Casper Ruud coming back into action for the first time since the Australian Open. Hopefully got some rest, as he didn't take any over the break. So we'll see. So yeah, 2 solid draws there, Dubai and Acapulco. And like I said, I don't think Alcaraz will play. It doesn't seem like the smart thing to do after he's injured his injury that he had in Australia. So is he going to become one of those guys? Like, it's kind of weird now to see. It's like, what's with Spanish amazing players? We got Nadal, who's been plagued by injuries throughout his career. Is Alcaraz going to be the same? You'd hope not. One thing, I think when you're 19 and you're at this elite of a player, I think players who are 19 just get injured more because they, are growing still. Like, they're literally, their bones are, he could be getting taller, but you could be getting growing pains still. So you never know, but hopefully he will not become a player who's injury prone, because we just want to see this guy playing healthy all the time. Because when he is, he's still, in my opinion, the most electric player in all of tennis. So yeah, wish Carlos the best there. We got Djokovic back in action in Dubai. Lots of good stuff here for tennis fans before we get into the Sunshine Double coming up. So yeah, that's the news. Krejcikova wins Dubai. Norrie wins Rio. Medvedev wins Doha. 2 wins in a row for Medvedev. We'll see where he can level set with if he plays Djokovic in the semifinals. And yeah, we got great draws in Dubai and Acapulco, and we will leave you with that. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you guys later here on the show. Keep it locked. Follow me on Twitter right here. I'll be live tweeting during matches that I watch. See you guys soon.